Some of you aren't gonna really like this. Some of you might leave the video. That's okay. Guys ever heard of linear programming? Essentially what it is it's a field of mathematics where you have a given amount of something and you're trying to maximize or minimize or do something to some kind of problem you're having. So for instance, like a basic real quick example that I literally just came off the top of my head is if I have a certain amount of pieces of cake and I have like 10 kids in the room, how do I maximize the fact that every kid is happy or that everyone in the room is happy, given I might have more than 10 kids? So who do I give cake and who do I not give cake to? Because there's all these formulas and there's different variables related to the equation, right? That's a really weird example. But what I'm trying to get at, I am going to show you how to do this qualifier today, and I will actually be using linear programming, and it's gonna blow your mind. And we're back! The final one. That's the final one, guys. This is it. Strength and depth. Event number 1, tips. We're stoked. We're so stoked. Okay, what's the workout first off? So what do we have here? We got a 15-minute AMRAP, we have a 15-calorie row, 15 toes to the bar, and you guessed it, another 15. 15 power snatches at 93.5 pounds because everyone hates Americans and everyone hates our unit of measurements. All right, so let's dive into this workout. First thing, let's talk about my previous video. I did like a quick 2-minute, my first thoughts on this workout. I think if I recall correctly, because I didn't watch it, I didn't watch it this morning, but if I recall correctly, I think I said I would row like a 1300 to a 1350 here. I think I said unbroken, or I said 2 sets, like a 9 and a 6, okay? And then I think I said singles here. And to be honest, guys, I did these unbroken, I did singles here, but I did not do this, okay? So yes, yes, no. So let's jump into each piece and talk about what I learned from what I did compared to my first thoughts. Are you ready? I'm ready. Am I ready? You're ready. Let's go. 15-calorie row, okay? I treated my 15-calorie row as honestly a rest period. I think if you really want to make up good ground, you obviously need to push the row, but I decided that I was instead going to push the toes to bar and push the snatch and keep the row as a moderate movement, and therefore let my heart rate come down and just kind of sit on there and not row too hard. So I rowed, I think my first round, like every workout, you start off with going way too fast. I think I started my first round at 15 calories and I think I did it in like 40 seconds. But I think my subsequent rounds were all approximately like 45 seconds approximately, right? I was honestly rowing, guys, at around 1100 to 1150. I know, that seems slow. You're thinking to yourself, holy crap, that's so slow. Yeah, it's pretty slow. But I decided not to push the row, and it's because rowing I'm not the greatest at rowing, so me pushing a row would spike my heart rate so much. I decided not to push the row, but instead to push the other movements. So anyways, this took about 45 seconds for my calorie row. Really simple. Make sure when you're rowing, you're obviously getting in and out pretty quickly. So don't pull the straps on your feet. Set the straps on your row, on your erg, to be in such a way you can slip your foot in, slip your foot out without having to yank down the straps, because you're just gonna essentially waste, 2 seconds per round, 3 seconds per round, which is, in the beginning, you might not think it's valuable, but in the end, it's gonna be very invaluable to your score, right? So that's the row, moving on, pretty boring, okay? So, row, don't go ham. What's up next? 15 toes to bar. Like I mentioned, I did these every single round, an unbroken set of 15, okay? Didn't chalk. I don't think I chalked one time in the workout. You rode, I pulled my feet out, didn't have the straps tightened, pulled my feet out, stepped to the side, jumped up, 15 toes to the bar. So this is unbroken. Now, I think you're gonna play a game where you kind of choose your poison when you talk about your toes to the bar compared to your power snatch. Because unless you're a freak athlete and can do your toes to the bar unbroken and then do your power snatch unbroken, I think you're gonna run into an issue where you have to kind of choose where you wanna put your eggs in your basket in, like where do you wanna go unbroken, or where do you really wanna push the pace, because you can't really push it on both, right? And when I say push it on both, I don't mean like go hard, I really mean go for large sets, okay? So we talk about toes to the bar. So I really want to get into kind of a comparison of toes to the bar and power snatch, but I really want to quickly talk about toes to the bar and then go on to my power snatch, and then we'll compare both of them together. But in terms of just toes to the bar, I went unbroken. When I do my toes to the bar for my kip, I kind of have two kips I can possibly use. One is a very shortened kip where my knees are bent quite a bit, and I'm doing like really quick kicks to the bar. I only really reserve those or save those for a sprint when I'm not doing a lot of them. In terms of this workout, we're doing 15 per round. So, if you're getting 4, 5, 6 rounds, you're doing quite a lot of reps, 60, 75, 90 toes to bar. And when I'm trying to save my hips, I'm not gonna do a fast toes to bar. I'm essentially going to lengthen my kip out and do a very elongated kip at the bottom. And that way I'm not stressing my hips so much that it's affecting my row. So anyways, unbroken set of toes to the bar, elongated slow kip, okay? So let's jump into power snatch, right? And then after power snatch, we'll jump into power snatch versus toes to bar. So 15 power snatch. And I actually think it's technically snatch, so you could full snatch it. Of course, it's pretty light, so I think you should be power snatching it. Like I mentioned in my first thoughts, when I first looked at this workout, and within 2 minutes, when I looked at this workout, I thought to myself, how would I approach this? I said, okay, I'm gonna do singles, and that's what I did. I did singles. Every single round, I did 15 singles with a very quick reset. I personally like to use a C70 bar, which is a shorty bar, a Rogue shorty bar. Reason for that is the bar won't bounce around as much, and I know exactly where to place my hands when it comes to a shorty bar, because it's the same bar we would use for Randy, which is a 75 pound snatch, which is very fast also. Okay, so quick reset, I'm riding the bar down as much as I can. So what I'm saying is I'm not dropping from the top and letting it bounce around and then I'm resetting. I'm sure I did that a few times in my video, but I'm trying to reset as fast as I possibly can and not let the bar move around so much. Okay, I did all singles. I think the only time I did touch and go was in my final round. I got back to the snatch and I did touch and go. So I did actually tape my thumbs, but I only taped my thumbs for literally a touch and go set of 2. That was it. When I do singles, I do not wrap my thumb because it takes too long for me to set that. Instead, I'm suicide gripping all my snatches. Either suicide gripping or I'm just wrapping my thumb around, but I'm not actually wrapping like a thumb wrap. Instead, I'm just going like this, like if I regularly grabbed a bar to hang and do pull-ups from. Okay, so singles on the snatches, I think approximately these took about 3 seconds. Okay, these took about 3 seconds per rep, and at maximum, we're talking 4 seconds per rep. So therefore, if we look at that, we're looking at 45 seconds to do 15 power snatches. Okay, and then at maximum, we're talking a full minute to do power snatches at singles rate. So really, you can approach power snatches in a couple different ways. You can do singles, which, like we go back and we've talked about in the past about doing quick with little rest squats or doing slow with no rest. This is considered a slow with no rest. I'm moving, I'm shutting my brain off. It's the same movement over and over and over again. Whereas the opposite would be, okay, I'm gonna do sets of 5, or I'm gonna do 6 and then maybe a 4 and then a 5, or I'm gonna do an 8 and a 7, where you can do that, but the question you gotta ask yourself is, when you do your quick set of 6, let's say, okay, or maybe 5, you do a quick set of 5, and your set of 5 will obviously be faster than my 5 singles. That's totally a given. You're probably gonna be rolling at 2 to 2.5 seconds per rep. So you're gonna already have garnered some time to save. But when you drop that bar at the set of 5, okay, and before you pick it up again, how much time are you wasting before you pick it up? If it's a considerable amount, you've got to ask yourself, okay, well, if I'm sitting here and resting for 10 seconds, why wouldn't I do singles? We're in a sport where people are always so about intensity and always about going ham and going hard. But singles is a good idea. It's really easy, and it doesn't tax you as much as you would think, right? So ask yourself that question. If you're sometimes a taller athlete, or you're not good at singles, or you're not really good at dropping the bar and then getting right back on it, then I would recommend doing touch and go. If you're an athlete that is able to drop the bar and set real fast and go, or not even really set, but just kind of just go and rip it off the floor, I'd recommend singles. So that's my discussion on power snatch. Now let's discuss power snatch combined with toes to bar, because in my mind, that's the actual workout, right? So what I mean is, you've got 15 toes to bar, okay? And then you've got 15 snatch, right? So you've got to ask yourself, these are both grip intensive. So how do you approach this? Now, I approached it with singles, and then I approached it with unbroken. So if you kind of think about it, you got to kind of think, okay, my forearms have some ability to grab and hold on to things for a certain duration of time. I have a certain amount of maximum grip capacity, essentially. And if I've got, this bucket of capacity, of grip capacity, okay? And I've got this bucket. I've got to make sure that I use up my capacity in such a way that isn't detrimental to my overall score. So, for instance, if I decide to go, if I've got this 100% ability here, and I give, 100% to my snatch, so I'm going touch and go for all 15 reps, I have nothing to give for toes to bar. And we all know that if you have nothing to give for toes to bar and you're doing singles or doing doubles, you're gonna waste an enormous amount of time. So you've got to look at this and say, okay, which movement of these two is easier to reset reps? That's really what it comes down to. Looking at these two movements, which movement can I drop from, or drop the bar, or fall off of, or get off of, or whatever the case may be, is actually going to be faster to fall off or drop off or whatever on that movement. Well, when you look at this, you think to yourself, okay, if I do 15 single toes to bar, because this is actually going to be testable. If I do 15 singles for toes to bar, how long is that going to take? Probably a minute, probably. I mean, you have to initiate your kip, hit the bar, drop off, fall on the ground, look back up, jump, initiate the kip, right? So probably 45 seconds to a minute. If I do 15 singles on my snatch, how long is that going to take? Okay, well, we already talked about that. That's somewhere between 45 seconds to a minute. Similar, right? Okay, but if I do touch and go snatches, how long is that going to take? You take that time, I don't actually know that time, take that time and you compare it to 15 toes to bar, but then you have to also factor in the fact that you have to keep jumping to the toes to bar every time, right? Resetting, jumping, resetting your grips, initiating the kip. Whereas the snatch, you're just dropping it, bending over and grabbing it. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you have this amount of capacity to give to these movements, you have to ask yourself, where are you willing to sacrifice time, and what movement allows you to sacrifice time that's advantageous to your score? And in my case, when I look at this, I decided I can do singles on snatch, and yes, it will be slower than doing 15 touch and go snatches by probably 10 to 15 seconds. But if I can do singles on snatch, but go touch and go toes to bar and all unbroken, that's where the money's made. Because look at it the opposite way. If I do singles on toes to bar and unbroken snatch, what does that look like? To me, it looks like a lot of jumping back up into the bar and reinitiating a lot of kips, which takes a lot of time. That's how I look at workouts like this, is I ask myself, if I have a certain amount to give, how do I want to give it? And in what way do I maximize my output? Essentially, guys, we're just doing math. If we're really being honest, for all you nerds out there, all I'm really doing is doing linear programming. I have a certain amount to give. Here's my formula. How do I maximize my output? You guys are all thinking, holy crap, he just turned the strength and depth event qualifier number 1 into a linear programming maximization formula problem. Boom. That, guys, is the final tips video for the strength and depth qualifier number 1, and that covers all 3 of them. I'm still in the process of having all my strength and depth workouts edited, and so hopefully I'll have them up to you guys soon so you can really enjoy watching those. I think the next qualifying workouts that are gonna come out are gonna be the beginning of January. I think the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge qualifiers come out, so we're gonna be jumping on those, as of course, doing all of them. Until then, I think that really covers it for all of our qualifier workout tips and tricks videos. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Everyone have a good day. Talk to you guys later.